Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then a warm welcome to you. My name's Sophie. I am a stay-at-home mum. I have a little boy called Riley and I have a partner called Rich, and we also have a German Shepherd dog called Goku. My channel is basically all about lifestyle, mum hacks, cleaning hacks and all things combined. So Emily Norris, the guru that is of all mum channels in my opinion, has set out a new mum tag. She has set out 15 questions for us to answer. Also, if you want to take part in this, please do. You just have to tag Emily Norris down below so she can see it as well and share it with all of your mum friends. So let's jump into it. Number one, what is your favourite mum hack? I think mine would have to be, if you have a little boy, sometimes, especially when they're very little, if you change a nappy, you can have accidents. My favourite hack is to basically lift up the nappy very slightly before you change it, blow down onto their parts, and it basically starts them having a wee, so you don't have to take the nappy off and have a horrible surprise. Number two is embarrassing mum moments. So I haven't actually had anything. Riley's nearly 2, so I haven't had many things that have happened yet that have been extremely embarrassing. But I do remember when I was on the table about to have a C-section. No one had told us, I'd never heard anywhere that they go around the room because it is a surgery, saying who everyone is and what they do. So you've got sort of Joe Bloggs, the anaesthetist, so-and-so the midwife, so-and-so the other midwife, surgeon, everything. And they all stopped and looked at my partner, Rich, and just sort of expecting at him. And he just went, Richard Best, carpenter. And I was just like, oh my God, the father, darling, you're the father. They don't care if you're a carpenter. To his credit, he had no idea what was going on either, but I just remember being like, oh my God, yep, that's the father of my child. Number three, what part of the day do you love the most? There's two moments in the day that I think I love the most. That is getting up in the morning, when Riley wakes up, we bring him into bed with us. He can sort of watch a bit of cartoons, have some juice, but we all sort of snuggle in bed together. Or when Rich comes home, we usually get the guitars down and we have a little jam and a sing-song, and Riley absolutely loves it. He thrives off it, and that I really enjoy those moments as well. Number four, what part of the day do I hate? It would probably, I don't really hate any part of the day, but it would probably be either just when he's woken up from a nap because he's very grizzly, or it's the sort of half an hour before bedtime. Luckily, bedtime isn't too much of a battle, but it seems to be like this sort of mad half an hour in our household. If anything's really going to go wrong that day, it's usually the half an hour before bedtime. That's usually what happens. Five, what was the worst thing I was told when I was pregnant? I never really had people touching my belly or anything like that. If they did, I didn't particularly mind too much as long as I knew them. No strangers ever tried that on with me, so I must have a unapproachable face. I think the worst thing I was ever told was by the midwife when she said, you're probably going to have to use crutches soon to walk, because my hip was completely excruciating. It just parted. It wasn't good. It was pretty painful. 6, what baby name did you not agree on? And that actually was Jackson. Now, Emily Norris, who has created this mum tag, her youngest is called Jackson, which I didn't know that's what she was going to call him, because I was pregnant just as she was about to sort of have Jackson. And me and Rich, I loved the name for ages, and it actually for me stemmed from Johnny Cash with the song Jackson, and every time I used to play it, Riley would do loops in my belly. He loved it, and we're big Johnny Cash fans in this house. Unfortunately then, Rich ended up with a co-worker whose name and last name was Jackson, and they didn't exactly see eye to eye and they didn't get on, and he always thought, I will always remember that name associated with that person, so that kind of blew that name out the water for us. We actually didn't decide on Riley until he was born and looked at him. Other name actually that Rich really wanted was Hiker. It was Hiker. which is a Cornish word, a Cornish name. I always thought it was dead close to hiccup, so I just never, didn't speak to me. Number 7, co-sleeping. Did you co-sleep? Yes, we did. We co-slept until he was 4 months old. I don't regret it at all in the slightest. Actually, I absolutely loved co-sleeping. Even if I was like piggy in the middle, really, because I never put Riley in between us as a couple, or Rich would sleep downstairs. I don't regret it at all in the slightest. I loved it. I was actually heartbroken when I thought, no, he needs to go into his own room and into his own bed soon. So we actually went into the travel cot in our room before he went, you know, at 6 months, then he went in his own room, but don't regret it. I loved it. Number 8. What was one of the products that you have never used? I never used the baby bath. We actually in the end got a seat that has little sort of suckers that you put to the bottom of the bath, the actual bath. And we used that like a little chair in there for him. I did actually buy secondhand a big baby bath. I think I used it once and thought, this is for the dogs, I hate this. And I never used it again. Number 9, 3 hospital must-haves. First off, I've got to say face wipes. Take a pack of face wipes with you. You are not going to, if you're like me, you have an epidural, you can't get up and wash your face afterwards and you are sweaty. A pack of face wipes is really cooling and really nice as well. Number 2, black clothing. Oh, don't try and look pretty, just black clothing. Baggy, loose black clothing. And number 3, actually, something I really wish I'd done was a chocolate bar afterwards. I was so worked up after everything because it all kind of went a bit wrong for me. I shall probably link afterwards my birth story for if anyone wants to sort of go into more detail with that. But yeah, it all kind of went wrong. I wish I'd had a chocolate bar afterwards. Even though the amazing midwife brought me toast, a chocolate bar would have boosted my sugar levels a little bit. Number 10, are you a routine mum or a go with the flow mum? I am a routine mum all the way. I think it is more for me than it is for the benefit of Riley. I am a very anxious person and I like to have a law and order in my life and know where everything is and everything's structured, and it makes me feel relaxed. If, for example, we go out to a barbecue or something one evening and he skips bath time and he just goes to bed, that's fine. I've no problem with doing like a 1 day off. Oh no, it is regimented in my house. 7. What was your birth story like and what pain relief did you use? I was actually in slow onset labour for a week, in and out of hospital, being sort of sent by my midwives and everything like that because of my blood pressure. In the end, they induced me. Ended up having an epidural, which is all very different from my water birth that I wanted, but never mind, these things happen, and I ended up having a C-section. Number 12, have you ever been mum shamed? No, I have never been mum shamed. At least not to my face, or that I know about. I'm very lucky I do not have people around me, or strangers have never mum shamed me at all in the slightest. Probably the wisest move because I wouldn't take it well. Number 13, what has been your biggest change since becoming a mum? For me, personally, my biggest change be having to learn to divide myself up between 3 other entities. Riley's my priority, and then Goku again is my priority. He's my fur baby, so he needs walks, he needs exercise, he needs caring for. And then, say for example, if Riley's been teething all day and then I need to, Rich is finally home, then I take Goku for a walk and do that. And then once those 2 are in bed, basically, then I have to be like, how's my partner? I used to be very much, I loved my own space. I loved my time to myself, but I did have to sacrifice that a lot in having a family. 14, what's the best advice you were ever given? Actually, the best advice I ever got was from my mum. And in my baby shower book, she wrote, always try and catch them doing something right. And now that Riley is nearly 2, that has become so much more meaningful to me because I feel constantly like I'm going, no, don't climb that, no, don't do that, no, don't put that in your mouth, no, shut that cupboard, no, close that door. And sometimes you do get to the end of the day and you're like, I didn't praise him on anything that he did right because I'm always worrying about what the thing he's going to do wrong is. So always catch him doing something right has been the biggest one to me. What advice would I like to leave somebody? It's going to sound really odd, but get down on their level and show them at a young age that you're listening to them. It was something my dad and my mum always did with me, but it really stuck out with my dad. That even when I was younger, no matter what gibberish I was talking, he would stop and look at me, and his face was a little bit like, you better tell me something that's worth my time. But even if it wasn't, he would just sit and listen to me and then ask me questions about it, so I knew that he'd listened. And that really stuck with me up until the teen years, which is when it really came back to me that I was always able to talk to my dad. Even if I was afraid to talk to my mum about something, I could talk to my dad. And if I was going out somewhere, I would say to my dad, look, they've told me to tell you we're sleeping at Lauren's house, but we're actually going and drinking beer on the nearest beach up to us. And he was like, that's fine. That's not a problem. Thank you for telling me the truth. If anything goes wrong, whole other stories. One time it went wrong and I needed my parents. And he could come and get me straight away. There was no faffing of me telling a lie of where I was, and it really resonated with me that my dad had always made the time to stop and listen to me, and active listen to me. And I think doing that at a young age really stuck with me until the teen years. That's probably a really long-winded version of my advice that I would give someone. And last but not least, who is your mum crush? It's got to be Emily Norris, isn't it? Got to be Emily Norris. And Jordan Page. I love Jordan Page. Oh, they're so organised. You just watch their videos and you're like, yes, like-minded people that understand the franticness of life. This is how you can make it easier for yourself. I love anything like that. So if you want to participate in this mum tag as well, make your own video, use these 15 questions that I shall put down below, tag Emily Norris in it so she gets to see it as well. I'd love for you to tag me in it as well, because I'd love to see your videos. If you are new here, then please subscribe. I'd love for you to stick around. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you next week.